Isis, Ra, and El, growing in knowledge of their power, the power of the Vril, created thriving empires. As the years passed, their bond between each other and their lost siblings frayed and was all but broke. Competition and pride drove them against each other as they built their empires to rival one another. El founded his kingdom in a valley, rich with arable land, with people from the east who called themselves the black-headed peoples. El, through meditation and quiet contemplation, became the most skilled at the use of the life force, the energy they called Vril. He learned to conquer death and became glorified by the inhabitants of the valley, the black-headed peoples. They worshipped him as their one and only God. His brother and sister, Isis and Ra, grew too in their knowledge and established their kingdom in the desert. The Nile River would become the source of their power, but as they grew in stature, they were constantly at war. Isis and Ra would, forgetting their mother Sophia and their shared past, commit themselves to violence over the lifeblood that was their shared river. Doing so checked the expansion of their empires and bogged them in a morass of their own individual pride for many centuries. El and his empire to the east had flourished. The most insightful of the three, he did not stretch his empire boundaries to the Nile Valley, knowing that it would only result in a quagmire. His people flourished under their God's rule, and El took for him many wives over the years, who bore him many of the black-headed children. Enlil saw this from afar, and grew in jealousy. He told his minions, the Archons, "Look, El has created for himself a paradise. Let us go into his land and fool his people and make them our worshippers." Enlil and his Archons created for themselves flying craft from the mains of the city of Atlantis and flew them to the land of the Tigris and Euphrates Valley, the place that would be called Mesopotamia. As their ships appeared suddenly one day in the sky, the inhabitants wondered and cried out, "Look, new gods, those that come from above." El, unknown to war for many years, had forgotten how to fight. Enlil had come with wondrous power, and El knew not what to do. Enlil, through fanciful magic, wooed the black-headed peoples and convinced them to throw off El and embrace him and his Archons. The people, easily fooled, cast El out of the valley that he had created and killed his offspring, all but two, his youngest daughters. The power of the Vril was seized from El, and Enlil declared himself and his Archons to be the Anunnaki, those who come from above. Now, El would know death, but before he thrust off the mortal coil, he would warn his brother and sister. El and his two young daughters would travel to the Nile to try to re-establish the bond between his siblings. As he traveled west, he called out to his mother in his pain and begged her to forgive him of his pride. He only hoped it wasn't too late to remind his brother and sister of the love they had once known for each other. Deep under the earth, The mother could hear the son, but was unable to answer.
Several months had passed by since the fall of Atlantis, but in the minds of the 7 children of purity, it seemed like yesterday. They had traveled far, with no one in sight and no one to help them. They managed to survive through their many struggles. The harsh world challenged their physical, mental, and spiritual abilities, their will to power. Nature had taught them survival of the fittest. The eldest daughter of the 7, Danu, became a mother, comforter, and guide to her brothers and sisters, teaching them the Atlantean ways and the 9 noble virtues, and writing upon their hearts the law of spirit. Though her heart was angered and broken over what had happened that dark and dreadful day, she managed to keep it together to be a light for her younger siblings. It came to pass that they came upon a large community in the land of green. They settled there and mingled with the people. Years went by, growing together in wisdom and stature, teaching the people of their ways and their once beloved golden home, Atlantis. The time had come that Danu and her brother Canaan, the eldest of them all, found love. That deep love grew into marriage. Everyone in the community loved and worshipped the 7 of purity. Years passed this way. Danu had grown older. One day, Danu was deep in thought, walking in the field of green, mourning over her mother. Something in the far distance catches her eyes. A dark cloud of smoke rushing fast toward her direction. She peered into the distance and saw what appeared to be big flies in the cloud of smoke. Some were flying and some appeared to be on foot. A frightful thought came to her. Enlil! Rage and panic ran through her entire being. Danu ran back to her brothers and sisters, warning them and the community of the coming danger. Some ran in fear, others stuck around to face these coming raging beasts. As it drew closer, many yelled out, "Dragons!" But Danu knew in her gut it was Enlil. Frightened, Danu exclaimed, "There is no way we are going to defeat them. They are too great in number." Canaan, strong and brave, soothed his sister with his voice and said,
"Do not worry, our mother is with us. Know this, dear sister, the few, the small, shall conquer raging tyrants of great size and great numbers. No matter how dark things get, the shadow of an evil age shall pass."
As the enemy descended upon them, a power that had been dormant in the children of purity blazed forth, taking down much of Enlil's forces. Though their real power was brief, the battle raged on for an hour. Many on both sides fell to their demise, save the 7 of purity. Outraged, Enlil looked with piercing eyes at Danu and said,
"This battle is far from over. When I return, I will finish you and your family."
Enlil and his surviving archons fled. A great darkness and sorrow covered and filled their community. Danu, struck with sadness and pain over the loss of her people, cried out to her mother and friends of the past, the gods of Atlantis. Within minutes, bright lights appeared in the sky. A strong wind from the fiery chariots carried up the children of purity and the remaining survivors of the community. The seven, surprised to see those from their past, were glad to be reunited again. They spoke of the coming dangers and decided to go search out Isis, Ra, and El to form an army that will put an end to this reign of darkness and fallen world. The seven grew in wisdom and knowledge by listening and working with those who appeared from above. They traveled many places, coming across new peoples and people of the Indus, teaching them the ways of Atlantis and passing on the law of spirit, giving them a spiritual language called Sanskrit. The people of the Indus called these strangers Arya, noble ones, the gods with fair skin and fiery hair. They lived among the people of the Indus for many years. The gods mixed with the people of the land and bared many children. Some were divine, some grew to be sages and prophets. Time had passed, the seven growing older. It was time to move forward in search of their lost family. As they were leaving, the people of the Indus, Danu thought of Enlil and her oath to destroy Enlil. If it takes 1,000 lifetimes, I will find you, Enlil, and my wrath will rain down upon you without warning, without mercy. Danu worried. She thought she would pass on before finding her lost siblings.